The Sultan's court, my dears, thrummed with 1,000 lives, the clang of swords, the rustle of silks, the vizier's urgent whispers. But beneath all that, a deeper stillness resided, a silence that was not absence but presence, a thick, heavy blanket of dread clinging to the Hammam's ancient stones. Do you feel it? That quiet, more profound than any battlefield's aftermath? For here, in these chambers of steam, where the world outside faded, true power was forged and shattered. I stood, as always, behind the cool embrace of a carved pillar, my breath held. The air, hot and humid, twisted shadows into dancing specters on the polished walls. A veil of mist, scented with rosewater and something sharper, like unshed tears or the metallic tang of a fresh wound. Here, the clatter of arms was meaningless, the Sultan's decrees mere echoes. It was not by decree, but by a glance, a chosen word, a silken promise that the fate of the bloodline was spun. This was their sanctuary, yes, but also their arena. Can you truly imagine it? The vulnerability, the nakedness, not just of flesh, but of ambition, laid bare in the swirling steam. Here, my friends, the game of queens unfolded without pretense. No grand pronouncements, no public displays. Only the soft rustle of damp linen, the drip of water, and the chilling silence that punctuated their exchanges. These women were not warriors, yet they wielded weapons deadlier than any blade. A touch, perhaps, of a poisoned ring. A rumor, seeded like nightshade. The dynasty's strength, the empire's future, was not decided in war rooms, but in the veiled intimacy of these humid halls. Here, finest silk could become a noose, sweetest perfume, a precursor to betrayal. They forged its chains, those golden fetters binding men, and shattered the mirrors of truth, leaving only reflection and illusion. No one was meant to hear this. No man was meant to witness such raw power. But I did. I heard the whispers, saw the shadows dance, and understood that in this sacred, cursed space, death often began life for an ambition, or ended it for a rival. This, my dears, is where the empire truly lived and died. Observe, if you will, this inner sanctum. Not merely a bath, but a gilded cage, where the very air, thick with steam and the perfume of sandalwood, becomes a witness. Here, polished marble gleams under the filtered light, reflecting the golden spouts from which fragrant waters pour. A torrent of luxury, a river of forgotten tears. This is no mere ritual of cleansing, but a liquid throne room, where the sharpest blades of female will were honed, hidden beneath layers of heavy silk and priceless jewels. She arrives, the Valid Sultan. A woman whose skin bears the map of countless intrigues, whose eyes, though softened by age, still hold the glint of 1,000 silent battles won. Her wisdom is a cloak woven from the threads of years and countless betrayals. She takes her place, serene, powerful, a living monument to the dynasty she has shaped with her own hands, often stained. Then come the others. Daughters-in-law, their youth a fragile shield. Concubines, their beauty a volatile currency. They shed their finery, revealing bodies meant for pleasure, for procreation, for the sacred perpetuation of the bloodline. But their souls remain armored, protected by the cold steel of ambition, by the intricate designs of cunning. Each immersion into the blessed waters is a paradox. A ritual of purification, yes, but often a silent anointing for a coming curse. Watch them as they move through the vaporous air, their true intentions, their whispered threats, cloaked in the steam, lost in the shadows that dance on the wet walls. Here, within these scented mists, hopes for an heir are born, and sometimes, silently, cruelly, extinguished. A glance, a momentary pause in a shared gaze can be a promise of alliance or a veiled threat more potent than any blade. For in this gilded cage, where beauty is a treacherous mask for cruelty, the silent language of power is spoken. The air itself seems to thicken with unspoken questions. Who will bear the next prince? Who will fall to a sudden unexplained illness? Who will taste the bitter comfort of poison? The silence here is not empty. It is pregnant with fate, heavy with the weight of the empire's future, decided not in grand council halls, but in the intimate, ruthless theater of the Hamam. The air hung heavy, not just with the thick, cloying sweetness of rosewater and jasmine, but with a palpable tension that coiled tighter than a harem girl's braids. In the Hamam, where the steam perpetually veiled and revealed, faces blurred at the edges, dissolving into phantom shapes. Yet their eyes, those eyes, remained sharp, unyielding, like obsidian chips in a shifting mist. They pierced the vapor, searching, assessing, betraying the silent war waged beneath the surface of placid smiles and lowered gazes. Among them, a figure often overlooked, a wisp of a woman whose presence usually vanished into the very steam that now enveloped us, took a single, almost imperceptible step forward. Her name, insignificant to history, escapes me now, but her actions, are etched into the very foundations of this dynasty. Her hand, adorned with rings heavy as the secrets it held, trembled for a fleeting beat. Was it fear? Or the exquisite tension of a deadly purpose realized? It is a fine line, my dear ladies, between the two, especially in these gilded cages. From the silken folds of her sleeve, a small embroidered handkerchief, the color of spilled pomegranate seeds, dislodged itself. It did not fall with a dramatic flourish, but rather floated, a whisper of fabric, down to the mosaic tiles. A casual slip, one might think. An accident, perhaps, in the humid, slick conditions. But I, standing here, behind this very pillar, have learned to read the language of the shadows. I have seen enough blood spilled on these floors to know that true power often speaks in silence, in symbols. The Valide Sultan, a monolith of composure, her gaze fixed on nothing and everything, offered only the barest flicker of her eyelids. A nod. So subtle, so swift, it was less a movement and more a cessation of stillness. A breath held, then released. No words were uttered. No direct command issued. No one else in that steaming chamber, lost in their own anxieties, their petty ambitions, saw the gesture. They were blind, mesmerized by the steam, by the illusion of their own safety. But I saw it all. I am always watching. I am always listening. That innocuous square of silk, that whisper of a gesture, sealed a prince's fate. Perhaps the future sultan's. A life, a bloodline, extinguished not by poison in a sherbet, but by the silent choreography of power. This is not merely intrigue, is it? This is the most ruthless of games. A brutal chessboard where the pieces are living souls and the board is the empire itself. The true venom, my dear ladies, often lies not in a poisoned cup, but in a glance, a silence, the innocent fall of a silken thread. It is a verdict delivered without a whisper, yet it resonates like a death knell through the generations. Remember that. The steam, thick with unspoken vows and nascent betrayals, no longer cloaks the Hamam. It has dissipated, yes, but the choices forged within its veiled heat now drift, unseen and potent, through every corridor of this gilded cage. The play, my dear ones, has merely moved its stage. From the hushed sanctuary of porcelain and marble, the empire's fate has been cast, its ripples now spreading, an invisible poison seeping into the very stones of the palace. Watch closely. You will not witness the overt act, for such deeds are too vulgar for these hallowed halls. Instead, you will see the consequence. A sudden chill in the air, a fleeting shadow across the Sultan's face as a missive is delivered. Soon, a whisper will travel, faint at first, then growing in morbid certainty. A prince, vibrant yesterday, is taken by a fever in the night. Or a respected pasha, his loyalty once unquestioned, meets an unfortunate accident on a hunt, his horse spooked by a phantom sound. Perhaps, worst of all, a trusted advisor, once indispensable, finds his name sullied, his words twisted, until his very presence becomes a threat to the bloodline he swore to protect. No one, not even the Imperial Guard with their sharpened blades will seek the true culprit. Who would dare disturb the delicate balance of fear and ambition that governs this court? The architects of these silent tragedies have already dissolved into the vapor, leaving behind no trace but their chilling intent. We are left only with the echoes, the unnervingly perfect silence that follows a sudden death. The broken seal upon a document of critical import, its contents altered, its purpose subverted. Look, there, a jeweled cup, yesterday brimming with the sweetest sherbet, now lies overturned in a hidden alcove, its remnants dried to a faint, bitter stain. A testament not to carelessness, but to a swift, decisive end. This is not the realm of good or evil, understand? This is the cold, relentless logic of survival, a brutal dance for the dynasty. Every woman within these walls, from the lowliest concubine to the most powerful Valide Sultan, is a strategist, her mind a fortress of schemes, her heart a repository of secrets. And every man, from the mightiest sultan to the humblest eunuch, is but a pawn in their intricate, often deadly, game of queens. The weight of these unspoken truths, this web of betrayal and ambition, settles upon the palace like a shroud of heavy silk. It is a secret almost palpable, a constant pressure in the air, a poison in the atmosphere, inhaled with every breath. The very walls seem to groan under the burden. And in the heart of it all, a profound, terrifying silence, where the fate of an empire hangs by a thread. And so, the steam settles, the water cools, and another tale, born within these very walls, finds its end. But do not mistake silence for absence. The whispers, they never truly cease. They cling to the polished marble, seep into the ancient stones, linger in the very air, spiced with forgotten incense and untold secrets. For centuries, they have been the true language of this place. These women, you see them draped in silk, adorned with jewels, confined within their gilded cages. You might think them fragile, mere pawns in a man's world. But that, my dear observer, is where the greatest deception lies. They were the true architects of this dynasty, its unseen creators and its most ruthless destroyers. Not with swords or decrees, but with a different kind of weapon. Their power was an invisible current, flowing beneath the surface of courtly life, their intrigues a venom more potent than any serpent's kiss. From threads of finest silk, they wove webs of influence, intricate and inescapable. With drops of unseen poison, they silenced rivals, elevated allies, steered the very course of empire. Every sultan, every grand vizier, a lion in the public eye, was often, in truth, a mere puppet, dancing to the cadence of their whispered commands. They moved in the shadow, their intentions masked by the sweet smoke of oud and the flicker of distant lamps. Remember this, for it is the bedrock truth of all such gilded ages. Beneath the mask of exquisite luxury, of perfumed languor, there pulsed a relentless, brutal game. A game for the bloodline, for the sanctity of the throne, for mere survival itself. A game played without mercy, where betrayal was often the most trusted currency, and a moment's weakness could lead to an eternity of silence. This deadly ballet, born in the steaming depths of the Hamam, did not end with the turning of a century or the fall of a name. It continues even now, echoing through the corridors of power, wherever ambition and desire intertwine. Because true power, my friend, does not scream from the battlements. It does not boast in the marketplace. True power, it simply whispers, and in that silence, it reigns supreme.